So continuing our discussion on lesson 5.2, linear functions and their graphs. This time, our next example will have it in standard form. Our equation is in standard form. 2x plus 5y is equal to 0. But we need to graph it using the slope and the y-intercept, okay? So remember, when we had a standard form, typically we can graph it using the x and y intercepts. But in this particular problem, it's asking us for the slope and also for the y-intercept. Now remember, with the slope-intercept form, it has to be in the form y is equal to mx plus b. So from standard form to slope-intercept form, from standard to slope-intercept, all we need to do is to isolate the y, okay? Because remember, in standard form, x and y are on one side of the equation. And on the slope-intercept form, y is by itself. So in our example here, we have 2x plus 5y is equal to 0. First thing, we move our 2x, so that's a minus 2x, minus 2x. Sorry, that's an x. So you have a 5y is equal to negative 2x plus a 0, okay? And then we only want y, so we divide by 5, we divide by 5. So our slope-intercept form of the equation will be y is equal to negative 2 over 5x. We do not have a y-intercept. It's actually a plus 0, okay? So if you do not have a value here, the y-intercept is actually a 0. So how do we graph this? Now remember, point number 1 is the y-intercept. And that will be at 0, 0, okay? So we have a point at 0, 0 over here. Now point number 2, we're going to be using the slope. Okay, now according to the slope, it is negative 2 over 5, meaning we got to go 2 down and then 5 to the right from the point. So to do that, let's change colors here. So we go 2 down, so that will be 1, 2, and then 5 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We will have a second point over here. Okay, and so you can see that that is how we can graph our line. All right. So here we already have seen two kinds of equation of the line, the standard form and the slope-intercept form. Now, in some cases, you will have an equation that says y equals negative 4. How does the graph look like? Well, if you're going to take a look here, y is equal to negative 4, y value will always be negative 4, no matter what the value of x is. And so, if you graph it, it's going to be a horizontal line passing through this point here, y, which is negative 4. If x is 0, it's also at negative 4. So it's going to be y equals negative 4. It's a horizontal line passing through negative 4. Same scenario when you have a graph that is x equals 2, meaning any value of x will always be 2. And so your y could change, and that will now show you a vertical line that passes through x equals 2, okay? So when we have vertical lines or horizontal lines, when you have your horizontal line, that value of y is your y-intercept, okay? Here, the x value is your x-intercept, so that's where the the line will cross your x-axis. This is where the line will cross your y-axis, okay? So rate of change is something that is always associated with slope. So remember that slope is always the ratio between the change in y over the corresponding change in x. So how can we use or how can we show that rate of change? Let's have this example here. So we have a graph here showing the percentage of American men and women ages 20 to 24 who were married from 1970 to through to 2010. So find the slope of the line segment representing women, okay? So in this case, women are the line in blue. Describe what the slope represents, okay? So in our case, let's pick out 2 points, exact points over here with our, from the women here, okay? So here we have 1970, so point number 1 is 1970 and 65. Oops, sorry. Point number 2 is 2010 and 21. Okay, 21%. So if we are going to look for the slope, okay, remember the slope formula is the difference in y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so our y2 is going to be 21 minus the y value of the first point, which is 65, divided by the x values of the points, so 2010 minus 1970. So if you work on this computation, we will be getting negative 44 over 40 years in between 2010 and 1970. And if you solve this, this is going to be roughly around 1.1. So what does that mean? What is that negative 1.1? Now, looking at the trend of the ages, as you can see, as the years pass by, lesser and lesser female or women get married at the age of 20 to 24. So it means that every year from 1970 to 2010, the percentage decrease by 1.1% every year. Okay, every year. So that's how it was. That's what the negative 1.1 is trying to tell us. Every year there is a decrease in the number of percentage of women who are married between 20 to 24. So that is why you can see that trend is decreasing. Okay, so just because it says negative doesn't mean that it's a negative percent itself. So you have to make sense of what that value means. So there is a decrease of the percentage every year. There is a change, and it's going lesser and lesser every year from 1970 to 2010. All right, thank you.